Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Lots going on today. Man, it's crazy. Trump was busy this weekend, as usual. If we could get Congress to do 1/10 of what Donald Trump is doing, we would be in a good spot. Unfortunately, we cannot, and so we are not in a good spot. I'd be happy if we could just get the DOJ to do half of what Trump's doing. But he's doing stuff, right? So we've got a great trade deal he negotiated with China, so the stock markets are booming. We've got those tariffs dropping. We've got the prescription drug order that he's putting out today. We've got just all sorts of things happening. But, you know, one of the things that I want you guys to talk, we're going to talk about the prescription drug order and some of that. But one of the things that I think people don't know, and it occurred to me this weekend, it's really news. I might even do a press tour on this and like a press release. I have to hit producer Andrew up to get some of that out to some people. But are y'all aware that informed consent is not required in this country? Y'all think that you got to have informed consent. Everybody talks about informed consent and this, that. Did you know that you don't get informed consent? There's no law requiring it. I got to fill you in on the details about that. I mean, there's situations where it's required. But informed consent for approved pharma products doesn't exist. It's you don't get that, and obviously that's clear. So, anyways, there's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about related to that. There's some common law requirements, but there's that. We've got stuff on Bondi, but I also, really importantly, I don't know if you all have heard this, but if you pay attention, and this is really running around on TikTok big, but just for anybody who doesn't know. If you are ginger, and this really hit me personally because my son has red hair and light skin. And so my son is ginger. And I just want you all to know that means he's black. So I thought that being black meant that you had black skin. But no, if you have red hair and white skin, you're still black under this new theory. Now, the theory was created by a woman who is, in fact, black, and it was on TikTok. And she's explained it very eloquently. So we're gonna get in at the end of the show. I'm hoping we can get into that because I mean, now that I have a black son, I want DEI and reparations. So I mean, like before, I didn't like that stuff. I'm joking, folks. I'm joking. But boy, sometimes you just gotta laugh at the absurdity of all this. But anyways, all right. Before we get going in earnest. Like that in earnest. We have to go through a few things. Please support us. We need monthly donors. Keep us fighting. Keep us going. GiveSendGo.com/RenzLaw. GiveSendGo.com/RenzLaw. We do need your support. We do need your backing. We do need your help. And, anything you can do. Become a monthly donor. And, of course, don't forget, go to TomRenz.com. That's www.TomRenz.com. Need you to go there, click on shop, go to our partners and affiliates. Support Kirk Elliott if you need gold or silver. If you don't have crypto as part of your retirement account, you need it. Trump supports crypto. It's going to be there. It's going to be a thing. Block Trust IRA. Check these guys out. Do check them out. You need to have crypto in your IRAs and your retirement portfolio. I love these guys. They're a great sponsor. And then, of course, our Sat Phone. Make sure you check out Sat Phone stores. Stay connected all the time. Check out their Faraday bags and stuff like that. They also have some really cool like Kevlar backpacks and stuff like that. Super cool stuff. My kids got those. And then today we're going to Touchstone Essentials. Sherry Tenpenny recommends these guys. She told me about these guys. These are great people. Touchstone Essentials. You want to just have your family on this. Get your kids cleaned out. Get them detoxed. Keep them detoxed. Great products, great product line. Get your gut clean, get your body clean. Touchstone Essentials, wonderful product line. All right. We have lots of news today. And so I want to bring on one of three honest members of the Republican Party, one of the only three honest members of the Republican Party, and the newly minted super big shot chief kahuna of the Oklahoma GOP, Charity Lynch. How are you, Charity?
Hey, Tom, how are you? There are more than three of us. I'm going to prove it to you. That's funny.
I'm still skeptical, but I'm hoping you're right.
Well, you thought I was the only, and now you've met Debbie and Amy. There's more coming, I'm telling you. Oh, and you've met Liz. Hold on. So that's four because you've met Liz.
So
Harris.
we're up to four. Sometimes I miscount. Yeah, or yeah, the one of them could drop off the list. Maybe someone decides they're going to sell out or something. I don't know.
Not of those three, but
No,
okay.
that's probably true. They all seem pretty ornery. But how are you doing today?
I'm great. You're cracking me up.
Well,
I just wanted. I mean, like, is this going to expand beyond gingers? I need to know. I feel a little discriminated
Irish people, I
against.
guess. She did mention Irish people. I don't know if it's all
I'm
Irish people or
Irish,
just
maybe.
gingers.
Well, I don't know. I'm Irish. Maybe I could count.
Well, I think she said, because she was, I don't know, it's interesting. It's really a big deal. We're going to have to get into that. I want to get into that because it's
But
really,
I'm German too. So does that kind of cancel it, or how does that work?
I don't know. I'm not sure. See, this is all more complicated than I can understand.
Yeah.
I thought that we weren't supposed to judge people by the color of their skin.
Right.
Then I found out from the Democrats that that's wrong. We're supposed to look
Right.
at skin color first. And then I found out that skin color doesn't actually determine your skin color. This is a new development for me. I thought skin color was what determined your skin color, but I was wrong. Clearly, your skin color is actually, I don't know, irrelevant to your skin color. At least,
Like
you know what?
gender.
Well,
Like gender. Is it all
yeah.
just kind of fluid and you don't really know, but you're supposed to make decisions on how you treat people based on these things, but it's all fluid. Am I tracking?
Well, you know what? I mean, listen, I'm not qualified to speak on this as a big, angry, grumpy Viking white dude, and I don't think. I mean, I'm not ginger. My son likes to point out that my beard has multiple colors in it, and actually, so does producer Andrea. Yeah, it's just hey, you got a
I
lot of
see
colors.
some colors going there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
there's
can
like,
see it.
I guess. So I mean, I I don't know. I'm like a zebra or something. I don't know what I am, but I'm not black. I know that nobody's told me I'm black yet. At least I don't think I'm black. But you know what? Let me just show you this because I need to make sure that everybody is educated. This is super important. I mean, this is like the most important thing ever because now I have to support DEI and I want reparations for my son. So,
Lord.
yeah, here, let's watch this. This is the one that started it all. So,
I just need to remind y'all again. Everyone who is ginger, who has red hair, those are black people. All gingers are black people. If they have red hair, they are black. You see a white man with red hair, that's a black man. You see a white woman.
To be clear, a white man with red hair is black.
I just need to remind y'all again. Everyone black. You see a white man with red hair, that's a black man. You see a white woman with red hair, that's a black woman. Gingers are black. All gingers.
Okay, so this was complicated to me.
Remind y'all again.
I was not following all this, right? It seems like a bit much to me, and I mean, but it's really impactful. Like this is a big deal to people, and it's completely viral on like every level.
Well, so are there a large group of people that believe this, or is this poor girl, is she just needing some serious help? I mean, with the nonsense we see from the far left, it is totally possible that there is a group of people that actually believe this.
Well, I mean, who am I to judge this, right? I mean, obviously, as a white guy, I'm not allowed to have an opinion on anything.
Right.
I don't. And I mean, I'm just going through it and I'm like looking and, let me give you an idea. So this is completely viral on like a huge, huge scale. And
I've seen it. I've seen it a few times.
Here, look at, gingers are black video I searched on Twitter. And so we post to TikTok a little bit, but I'm banned there 90% of the time.
Sure.
So there's not too much that goes to TikTok from us. We got a small account, but so I can't really log in and show you the TikTok thing. But if you look here, I mean, these are all people that are talking about this. I mean, a lot of the ginger guys and girls are really embracing this. They're very excited. They feel, from what I'm hearing, a lot of them feel very accepted and loved now. They feel like they've got their, like a thing. They're like, it's just, there's one guy. Let's see if we can find his video. There's one guy that has some great videos showing what his feelings about his newfound blackness. And there's a lot of gingers making videos embracing it. There was one guy that posted a video of him drinking Hennessy and listening to hip hop and saying that this is his new Friday night thing since he's now decided that he's black, which I thought
nice race culture, huh?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't think it's cultural appropriation anymore for them because, I mean, they're allowed to, I guess there's certain things that we don't want to scroll through here. We're going to stop that because there's at least one video there I didn't want to see.
You cannot unsee it either. Sorry.
Yeah. But come on, Twitter. You ought to really have a little bit of a,
what's sad is that anything is possible. I mean, the way they have just tried to redefine common sense and basic biology, this is not the most outlandish thing we've heard. That's what's crazy.
Well, anyways, I think now that we need to, and I'm going to start lobbying you to change positions because I didn't like DEI or anything before, but now that I have a black son, I want reparations. Everybody owes me something on his behalf. And I mean, because I know that my son has certainly experienced a lot of horrible things as a result of his blackness. And so I think the world owes him something that they can give to me to manage until he's old enough to manage it himself.
I mean, if we're really going to look into history, the Irish immigrants, many of them that were coming from Ireland were treated much worse. And so, I mean, if we're really going to have that conversation, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous, but it would make sense that if we're going to do reparations, we would include Irish, right? So,
well, but no, it doesn't. I don't care about that.
Not because they're black.
I don't care about. I don't care about.
I know we
them.
know what
I just care about my son being black. That's it, right?
Well, there's a lot of history that has not been taught correctly. There's a lot of truth that's been erased. But
right, we didn't know that gingers are black. So I mean, anyway, all right. Well, we probably should get to actual things that matter. Okay. People, what the hell are you talking about? Right? Anyway,
you just lost a bunch of viewers.
I probably did, an awful lot of them. So let's talk about pharma. Did you see? And I know that you've been, so just so that everybody knows, Charity has been actually fighting corruption in Oklahoma and has been trying very hard to clean up certain aspects of the GOP in Oklahoma that she's found since coming in. And we'll leave it at that for right now. You're welcome to talk about it if you want, but I don't want to put you on the spot with it.
Well, so it was just a week ago. And so I have spent the last week, everyone describes it as a fire hose, and that's pretty accurate. Because you're trying to work out how your administration is going to work, get passwords on everything, get on all the accounts and all the things. And so that has taken up my time this week.
It's a very practical reality, but it's a very important reality. So,
sure.
Well, you keep on it. And I know that you're doing a lot of things to kind of stop some of these things. And I know that you're already taking steps to stop some of the bad things, but we'll be eager for reports when you're ready. But for right now, I'm gonna update you on some of the news. And if you didn't know, Trump was signing an executive order today to deal with drug prices.
Yeah.
And essentially, the gist of it is he's going to the government is going to require most favored nation status type stuff from drug companies. So Trump is saying that the government will now purchase from drug companies at the price that they give the best price that they give any nation. Right now, depending on who you look at and whose estimates you're looking at, we're paying between 30 and 80% more than many countries are for prescription drugs and other drugs and stuff like that. Yeah. So that on a yearly basis is many, many billions, if not more, maybe even trillions of dollars that we're just throwing away because no one will bother to negotiate with these drug companies, and no one will because they own everybody. This is critical, and this shows Trump is legit about the fact that he is not for sale.
Right.
I mean, him taking this action is not going to be well received by Big Pharma. It's going to upset a lot of people, including Republicans who are on the dole for Big Pharma.
That's right.
And but it's going to be a tremendous benefit for America and for American people.
Well, I'm always hearing from people that actually had to choose which medicine was most important because they couldn't afford both. Even the ones that have to unfortunately be on the socialized medicine, they can't afford it. And it's what America needs. And I don't think that people understand. Maybe they do. Probably most of your listeners do, but it's not just Big Pharma. It's all of their tentacles. And so their lobbyists are in the pockets of so many other companies, of so many other influential people in your legislature and beyond that. He will pay a price for this. And he said, I don't care. It's what's for the American people. And that is what's amazing. And that's the kind of leadership that we need.
Well, it's critical and it's necessary. And I mean, we can't, it's interesting to see the Democrats oppose cutting drug costs. I mean, they oppose anything he's doing. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. But, Trump's saying that he's expecting a 30 to 80% cut on cost of prescription drugs, which is huge. I mean, absolutely huge. And it's necessary, right? And other people are expecting either higher or lower, but yeah, that 30 to 80% seems pretty. I think that it'll be somewhere in there, and I think it'll probably be on the higher end if this is fully implemented properly. We'll see how that works, but this is an earth-shattering, shocking. Now, Big Pharma says, "Oh, it's going to destroy everything. No innovation." America is on the tabs right now. We're on the hook. We pay for everything for the world. I mean, we fund the whole world. And it's to the point where America's losing everything. We're losing our status. We're losing our position as the global leader of everything. We've been dropping like flies on everything. This just puts us back on a level playing field. Listen, other countries are going to hate this because what this really does means that Big Pharma isn't going to lose any money. They're just going to quit giving everybody such a good price.
That's it. People don't understand that the corruption was never going to go away easily, and they were never going to go away quietly. And so when they're stopped, you're going to hear them with their propaganda. Oh, they're stopping healthcare. That's not what's happening at all. They're going to stop science. That's not what's happening at all. He's making it right and he's making it fair. And it's going to be better for America, not just as a whole, but individually, each person. This is the right move, and I expected him to throw a fit.
Yeah.
So,
well, they're going to have a stroke about that. There's no question about it. And people are calling this out, and they should be calling out what's going on. It's interesting to see. Now, one of the things that's really big here is that people are actually calling this out, and I want to show you this one. This is actually, a lot of people are asking questions, saying, Bobby, why is mRNA still on the schedule? Is that another? Bobby can't just remove it. He doesn't have authority. The White House won't let him. That's what's happening. But he's working on it. He's doing his best. Trust that he's working on this.
Right.
Okay. Let me show you this. I don't know why the windows always move like that. I put it over there. Let me show you this.
But he can't be bought. Unlike most of the politicians in this country, and he is standing here for the American people. I don't know what, there's writers like Lord Elizabeth Warren or Robert Reich who are saying that President Trump is on this side of the oligarchs. There has never been a president more willing to stand up to the oligarchs than President Donald Trump. And I'm very, very proud of you, Mr. President, for your courage, I'll say, because I don't want to be crude, your intestinal fortitude, your stiff spine, and your willingness to stand up for the American people. We have 4.2% of the world's population. Our country represents 75% of the revenues for pharmaceutical companies. Wow. We spend in our country $11.
So there you have it. And I'm glad that he called out Warren and Sanders, who made obscene amounts of money from Big Pharma. Warren and Sanders, who are complaining about this, Warren, I think, has made $10 million from Big Pharma. 10 million or more. I mean, it's insane how much money these people are making and how corrupt they are. And, so they're screaming because, their gravy train's getting cut off. But this is really an incredible thing. And it's a huge, huge deal. This is one of Trump's most impactful things. And here's the thing. So if we look at the Big Pharma evil empire, right?
Yes.
Dismantling that's going to take a lot of steps. And I want to, listen, everybody that watches me knows that I've been fussy about the mRNA jab still being out there and this, that, and other, but I want to defend Trump on this. This action is crucial. This will make it so that pharma's influence is decreased in this country on a substantial level. Now, don't get me wrong. He's going to get sued, and some corrupt judge is going to say no, because that's the way it's going to work. They'll forum shop. They'll do whatever they gotta. And the Democrats will applaud this, and that's the way it's going to work. And that will continue until the Epstein list is dealt with and some of the other blackmail rings that they have over these people are dealt with.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Trump is doing what he promised he would do. Now, at the same time, I want to tell you guys why I'm so steadfast on backing Bobby. Bobby has to get the evidence lined up to pull this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Bobby can't just pull this. The White House won't let him. Trump's got staff in the White House that just aren't going to let him. And Trump himself has wrongly been a fan of the mRNA jabs. So he's got to get this lined up. But you got to respect the guy because he's doing what he thinks is right. And with Trump, I'm not going to, even though he has been a fan of the mRNA jabs, I got to tell you, he continues to do what he thinks is right. Now, we have to figure out a way to get to him and show him that the mRNA jabs aren't what he thinks they are. But that's what I think Bobby's doing, and it's going to take time for him to get there. So
then, he didn't mandate it, and he was under incredible pressure to mandate it, and he refused. So even though he believed in it, he still did what was right and said, no, they get to choose.
Absolutely, he did. 100%. People don't understand. Listen, I can be a fan of Trump's and not think that everything he does is perfect. I can support the president on 99% of his initiatives, but that doesn't mean I have to support 100. I don't like his position on mRNA, and I'm hoping he changes it. But Bobby being there, and the fact that Donald Trump has allowed Bobby to be there is crucial. It's crucial because that means that Trump is still, despite his, everybody says that, Trump, he just won't listen to. Well, no, he is listening to people. He's just got people lying to him. He's got people telling him both sides. But Bobby's going to come back with real science, with real data, with real information, and he's going to show Trump. And my guess is that once he does, that the president will reconsider his position on some of these things and allow some changes to be made. Trump's not a dummy. I mean, the guy's smart as a whip, and he's planning. Now, meanwhile, though, Trump can see it's very clear by his actions. Now, I'm analyzing this just based on evidence, right?
Okay.
This is just based on what I'm seeing, what I'm watching happen. So Trump is taking steps to limit Big Pharma's overreach. He can clearly see there's an issue, right? And for a guy like Trump, who may not understand, deep biology and biochemistry and stuff like that, he does understand business better than anybody.
Right.
And so what he understands is Big Pharma's price gouging. He understands that Big Pharma is owning people like Elizabeth Warren. He understands that Big Pharma is controlling them. So what's he doing? He's forcing them to play the game fairly. And I think that this is really I can't say enough good about this.
It's amazing. Though, Tom, people need to remember, because Big Pharma is in bed with everybody. So when you start hearing these attacks from
right down to the state level.
Right, exactly. So when you are hearing all these attacks, they're not going to make it about this decision, but know that's what it's about. When they're going to come out strong against Trump, and just know what it's about. He took a huge stand, and they're going to try to make him pay.
Oh, they are. And that's part of the reason that, I'm going to, in a minute, bring some more updates on Bondi and DOJ. But that's part of the reason that we have to have some accountability here. Because right now, one of the things that we got to understand, Trump is fighting for everything he said he would do. But none of it is sticking. And what I mean by that is he's making great trade deals. He's got great executive orders. But the day he's out, all that stuff can be rescinded. And the bad guys right now are trying to wait him out. And you've got these lawsuits that are blocking it up and screwing it up. You've got, but at the end of the day, Congress has done nothing. 5 or 6 bills since in the first 100 days. That's so much less than any president has received since 1950. This is the most useless, inept Congress I've ever seen. It's just like his first term when he had both sides of Congress and in the majority, and we couldn't even roll back Obamacare. It's because the Republicans are bought. They're just, there's too many crooks in there, too many rhinos. We got to clean that out. But even with Congress being broken, there is still room. We could still fix this if the DOJ would start bringing down some of the corruption. If we could get the DOJ to do something and do it quickly, it would be game changing. If you start seeing people perp walked, that changes everything. When Congress realizes that if they're committing crimes, they're still subject to arrest, which they are.
Right.
And judges. Both Congress and judges are still subject to the laws of our country. Now, we have the speech and debate clause in Congress, so they can say kind of anything they want under speech and debate, and they have to be able to do that. That's good. It's right under our Constitution. But you can't take bribes. You can't, you can't be bribed. You can't be bought. There are certain things you just can't do. And if that's happening, if you're taking actions against our country, if you're planning the J6 insurrection, if you're a part of planning for an election steal, you go to jail. That's right. Subject to the laws of this country. And just because you're a congressperson doesn't mean that you get to do whatever you want with impunity.
Right.
So Trump has got to get that DOJ moving. So we'll get to that in a second. Because that's foundational, but I want to move into something that's related to this, though, right? So we've got this push on Big Pharma.
Okay.
And we've got all this push to try and, kind of neuter them a little bit. Charity, I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Were you aware, or are you aware, that there is no federal and almost no state law even, and there is no universal state law that outright does this? Are you aware that in the United States you are not required by law to receive informed consent when you're receiving an approved pharmaceutical product?
So that it would explain how they got away with the COVID jabs and the medicine they were giving out, because it was blank. The inserts were blank.
Yeah.
And so it's how they got away with that.
Yeah. Did you know? And I would like to propose to you, and I'm putting you on the spot because you didn't know I was going to do this, but I would like to propose to you that you make for the GOP in Oklahoma a top priority, that you pass a law requiring informed consent for approved pharmaceutical products. How about that? I would love to know how anyone would oppose that bill. I would love to see any rhino or Democrat explain to me how they would oppose a bill that required informed consent, because people did not realize and do not know that you are not under the law required to be given informed consent for approved pharmaceutical products in this country.
What's crazy is there would be people that voted against that. It blows my mind, but there would be. It's crazy.
There would be.
We just had a bill hit the governor's desk about not allowing drag shows to be done in front of children. And there were actually people that voted against that. I mean, it is.
God, that's sick.
So they would definitely vote against informed consent. There are some, but I think we could get it through.
I will help you to craft and to get that bill done. It should be about a paragraph.
Sure.
I can pass that with one paragraph, and I'll be happy to share it on Twitter. Because if you get me a bill sponsor, I will get it to you in the next.
I could get you a bill sponsor, but now it wouldn't be till next session, because they're done with the bills for this session as far as introducing new ones, but we could get it done.
Can you get an emergency bill put in? I don't know the rules of Oklahoma.
I don't think you can, but I will ask.
Yeah, check it out, because this is really a huge deal. And we need someone, and any state rep in any state that wants to do this, let me know. I will help you get it done, and I will help you make sure it's the most popular bill on the planet. So let me go over this with you. So under U.S. code, and we're talking about U.S. code and specifically informed consent laws. So what you have is the Code of Federal Regulations does have requirements for informed consent on research involving human subjects. So for a research project, they have to, right? But once a drug's approved, it's not a research project. So there's no informed consent requirement. Then you have HIPAA, okay? Now, that requires disclosure about protected health information, but not whether your drug's going to poison you or not. It doesn't do anything on that.
No, that's just your personal information, not what they give you.
Yep. So then you have the states, right? So the states, you got a couple of states out there. So California has an informed consent for certain medical procedures, not approved pharmaceuticals. New York requires informed consent for certain treatments and procedures with exceptions for emergencies. That's probably the closest to an informed consent law in the country, I would argue. Now, there is a bit of informed consent requirement in common law. And depending on the state, that can result in malpractice or not, but it's not codified, and frankly, it's not properly enforced, and it's almost unusable in the courts. Now, there are requirements, and I'm looking at my notes over here. There are requirements for certain different things, right? Minor consent laws. Sometimes there's certain things with that. Mental health. Sometimes there's certain things. It's weak. It's more in psychiatric treatment than anything, and that's, I think, just in California. There's some advanced directive stuff for end of life decisions, but across the board, there just is no requirement. So you are not getting proper informed consent in any way, shape, or form. It's only defined under common law, and it's defined very vaguely. And because the FDA has been in pharma's pocket forever, and CDC and NIH and everybody else, essentially you are not getting informed consent and legally have no right to it. So if you come to me and say, Renz, I'm not getting informed consent, I want to sue, I'm going to say, you don't get informed consent.
Well, not only do they not have to tell you what's in it, but they also have this immunity that is disgusting that no other industry has the privilege of.
For vaccines, they not only don't have to give you informed consent,
but you can't sue them. That has the immunity.
Yeah. Okay. It's vaccines that have the immunity. Well, and then emergency, there are
the emergency use.
If it's under PrEP Act, so
right.
Remdesivir under the emergency declaration. How they got away with
that, right?
But so there are contexts. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't think that it surprised me, because what triggered this in me was I was looking, and someone online was talking about informed consent. And yeah, I mean, there's some common law on it, but there's no legislation. We have not got informed consent in this country. And I don't know how it is that we can't get a single one-page bill to require informed consent. All you have to do is define it and put it out there. But, here's the thing. People say, well, Nuremberg Code. Yep, in Nuremberg Code, that's great. But again, they got away with that because 45 CFR 46 really references the Nuremberg Code. That's where that kind of comes into play in the U.S. law. Yeah. But it's involving research. It's involving experiments, human experimentation, those sorts of things. With that, you have to do informed consent. But once it's approved, painness and swelling at the injection site. You may experience nausea, headaches. I mean, the informed consent laws, once it's approved, really come down to common law definitions. And those are vague at best. And they manifest through, various state common law. and done in conjunction with the FDA, which doesn't have any legislative requirements for determining. So this is all gobbledygook, the way that they determine, what are side effects and what aren't. The whole thing's a mess. But it could all be fixed in a paragraph.
So why doesn't everyone watching take it to their legislator? Why don't you put a paragraph out and let's get it in all 50 states? We can do it in Oklahoma too, but everyone can send this to their legislator. I mean, the legislator would be a hero for the grassroots across the country. And across the country, there are more grassroots than there are these people pulling the strings. Many times they just haven't organized, which is why you need the brigades. But it's
we need the brigades everywhere.
That's true, but it's how you organize the patriots that are trying to take it back. But we should be doing this in every state. Any legislator that runs that bill is going to be a hero.
Yeah. Well, I would agree with you, and I would make sure they were. But
yeah, absolutely.
Can you imagine? I mean, I don't know. As I looked at this and as I thought about it, I was like, people don't know that they don't get informed consent.
No,
I mean, it's a common law definition, and it could arguably lead to malpractice lawsuits. But the problem is that a lot of states now have malpractice reform, and it's so hard to get a malpractice lawsuit through. That's mind-blowing. And even then, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can go after the pharmaceutical company. They've got additional. It's very, very difficult. You try and prove an informed consent case. Good luck on that. You won't find many lawyers that will take those cases because they're next to impossible to do. Yeah. And the cost to do them is huge, and the odds of winning is, it's awful. So I guess one of the things that people need to know, and kind of the moral of this story, is that informed consent, well, that's kind of not happening.
We're going to have to force them to do the right thing. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. So we'll get on that, though. I know a person or two.
Me too. We'll see what we can do.
We'll see what we can figure out. All right. Well, that is a big topic. Pam Bondi.
So does she have no discretion, or is she just not bright? She's very bright. So I don't understand why she would do that. But
so let's talk about Pam Bondi.
Let's talk about it.
Now, we saw a whole lot of nothing going on for a very long time.
Right.
And I'd like to think that I had a little bit to do with pushing people to start asking questions, because I have been actively pushing people very hard. And, I've got a lot of friends who are much bigger influencers than I do. And I've been pushing them and everybody else to ask real questions. Right.
Right.
Because I get censored like you can't even believe, but not everybody does. So I've been asking the questions, right, over and over again. And it's an interesting thing, right? So I'm looking at this stuff, and I see Bondi is again trending. She is pretty much trending on a daily basis, and 90% of it is because she's not on Fox News 8 times a day, talking about the latest key vandal of a Tesla that she's putting in jail for 20 years. It's never because she's putting George Soros in jail, or a senator, or a House rep, or someone that's a crook. No, it's always some low-level thug nobody, and it's frustrating as hell. If you're a low-level thug nobody, you can expect the DOJ will throw the book at you, because it's part of the two-tiered system of justice that we still have, which people voted against. Who voted for? I see all these memes. Trump did this. This is what I voted for. Yes. You know what I didn't vote for? Two-tiered justice system. Mm-hmm. I did not vote for that. Now, that's not Donald Trump. That's coming from the DOJ, who has failed to produce anything or do anything on anyone of substance as of yet. That said, we've been pushing real hard, and it looks like Bondi might be getting the message that she's going to have to do something. I don't know. I'm just looking here, and she's definitely going after Letitia James. I think that's a direct order from the president. And Letitia James ought to be in jail for a good long time for a lot of reasons. But the parent mortgage fraud that she did, yeah, that's a pretty big deal. Now it's funny that the Democrats have the audacity to accuse Trump of weaponizing justice when they literally just raided Melania's underwear drawer, and Letitia James sued him for the exact same sort of discrepancy that he's suing her for. I don't know. This just seems reasonable to me, except for Letitia James was quite clearly committing fraud, whereas Trump just had an error in some paperwork.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So Letitia James is apparently going to go down. I saw that they're looking at foreign shell companies, funneling money to people for migrant protection, especially like city mayors, things like that. Looks like they're going to do something that's good. That's still pretty low level unless they figure out who is behind those foreign companies that are doing it, right? You've got Trump looking for term limits and wealth disclosures for all members of Congress. That's causing strokes. I don't know that we're going to see much. We're seeing, but that would come. I think Bondi would be involved in that. Apparently, she is launching a full investigation into Hunter's foreign bank accounts. That's a rumor. She's starting to do some things, but she's still doing things that are mid-level rather than high-level. The
Right.
Epstein list is apparently starting. I think they're going to have to do something with the Epstein list because we've been blowing that up nonstop. And I think they're getting the message that you can't sweep that under the rug.
Right.
But Charity, I mean, as a big shot leader of a state GOP, you got a picture how this works. I mean, unless something dramatic changes, like a senator going to jail.
Well, I think it's going to be, you kind of called this at the beginning of the administration. You weren't sure she was going to do anything. And you thought, well, she might get replaced. One thing we do know about Trump is he's not afraid to fire people that are not doing their job.
No.
And so we'll see how long he puts up with these subpar judgment calls.
Yeah. Well, listen, at the end of the day, Trump's entire agenda is being held up, in my opinion, because of the blackmail rings and things like that. You shut down the blackmail, you arrest a few, if there's judges on the list, arrest them. If there's
Right.
congressmen on the list,
Right.
arrest them. I mean, listen, if you're raping a child, I don't care what your position is, you belong in jail. So
Right.
find out who's doing that, put a few of them in jail, and I'll bet you things will start changing real
I
quick.
agree with you.
I think that if you find out that, certain judges whose names I'm going to withhold right now are actually on that client list and for good reason, I think you find out that if those particular judges are on video doing certain things, I think that you put those judges in jail, I think we'd suddenly see a real change in the judiciary.
Oh, I totally agree. Do you think we'll ever see the list?
No, I think we'll see a whitewash list. I think at this point that Bondi is going to have enough pressure. She's going to have to release something. But whether one of two things has happened. I mean, we've got numerous credible reports from Congress people and other people that a number of the files have been deleted or destroyed.
Sure.
So I believe that to be true.
Of course.
I think that Bondi will release something because she has to. I think it'll be whitewashed. I think there are certain people who've already been associated with the list that we'll never hear about, and we'll have to look at that and ask questions. And I think there's a number of people who won't be ever brought up. But I don't know if you'll see Prince Andrew getting charged. I kind of doubt that. I don't know if you'll see, Andrew was supposed to be on the list. You got the whole Virginia Giuffre thing.
There's so much evidence with him. It's just mind-boggling to me that they're still pretending like there's nothing there. I don't understand it.
How about the reports of Bill Gates or Bill Clinton?
Right. Oh, exactly.
I mean,
Well, they're going to find a few sacrificial lambs to stick out there so that it'll appease the masses, so they think. But do you think they'll actually, you have one lady on here that says, I don't care about the list, I want to arrest you. Think they'll do anything with the list, even the whitewashed list that they put out? Do you think that we'll actually see arrests?
well, I think we'll see a whitewash list.
That's as far as you go. You don't think they'll do anything with it?
Well, I think they might have to do something with it. But I mean, So there's reportedly a picture of Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress in one of the Epstein residences. I don't know if that's real or not.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, across the board, so for example, we know that what's her name, Clinton's daughter,
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Yeah.
So we just found out that they paid, bought her an $11 million, used USAID to buy her $11 million mansion, pay for a wedding, all this sort of stuff. Why hasn't she been charged with fraud? Why hasn't anybody done anything with that? I mean,
exactly.
Where is Bondi on that? Right?
Fraud, embezzlement. There's all kind of what I don't understand, and that's just minimum. I mean, that should be so much more than that.
Yeah, I mean, these things are legitimately concerning.
Yeah,
and there's just so much evidence, and it's perplexing to think, well, why the hell wouldn't you do this? Now, one of the things that I looked at, and I did some research on this because, Bondi was the AG in Florida while Epstein was running his child rape ring out of Palm Beach. And I don't know. Well, I don't know if people realize this because people give me a hard time. Oh, you don't love Trump enough because you're questioning Bondi. No, I love Trump, so I am questioning Bondi. If you love Trump, if you support Trump, you got to watch his six. So I am. Here's the deal. So Bondi came in as AG in 2011. There was a plea deal that Epstein did that said that they weren't going to charge him with certain things that happened just before she came in. Now, that doesn't mean that if he continued to commit crimes or if there were new crimes that she couldn't deal with them. Well, during her tenure, there are, and this is objective, right? Numerous news articles, discussions. Everybody knew what Epstein was doing. Everybody. It was an open secret. I mean, they knew about the Lolita Express. They knew about the whole thing. Everybody knew what he was doing. She was the AG, and she wouldn't touch him, even though she had child trafficking as part of her thing, right? That was kind of one of the things she talked about, but she just kept looking the other direction with Epstein.
Do you think she looked the other direction 100%? You sure she didn't know about it?
Oh, I think she absolutely did know about it. I think she knew about it and chose to look the other direction. There's no way on this planet that the AG of Florida didn't know about the Palm Beach Epstein show. I mean, it was an open secret. It was talked about. It was in the media, right? There were, let's see, I've got my notes over here. Where was this discussed? One of the Miami papers. There were a bunch of different papers that were talking about it. There's a bunch of different stuff that reported on it, but nothing ever done, right? No state level prosecution or investigation, right? And again, it's open secret. It was known, quote, widely discussed in legal circles, media, and amongst Florida's elite during Bondi's tenure, right? They knew about the Lolita Express. They knew about everything. They knew about the Palm Beach. The Palm Beach Post wrote about it. I mean, you have major press that's talking about this stuff.
Okay, so she had to have known.
No, there's no way she didn't know. She just avoided it. Now, let's talk about why. Now, here's my thoughts on this. So first of all, I'm guessing that she's a political climber because everybody that's got an AG role is. They all seem to be worried much more about their political future than anything else. And so it was probably, a political convenience, right? It's very politically sensitive stuff. So, yeah, we don't want to do that. The other thing, and the thing that I think is more important, I think is still continuing to this day, is the who is behind it. So Epstein was a crook running a blackmail ring, but he wasn't doing it for himself, right? He was doing it at the behest of, and that's the problem, right? So we're now seeing reports that Israel and the UK may have been using Epstein in part to manage this blackmail ring. Now, I can't confirm that. I don't know who was at it, but obviously there were countries involved, and there were full countries involved in this, and so the question is who. And was Bondi at the state level? Perhaps her hands were tied. Perhaps someone at the federal level said, "You're not allowed to do this. It's a national security issue." Right?
Perhaps she was looking into it and it just wasn't public knowledge.
It might have been that she wasn't allowed to do this at the state level. So I'm giving her an out on that. But she's now the AG.
Right.
And instead of coming in and immediately securing the evidence, she left it in the hands of a bunch of crooks at the FBI office in SDNY. And the people who were holding it and withholding it and would not give it up, apparently, none of them have been arrested. We had one guy get fired. No one's been arrested. And James Comer's daughter is still working there and on the Diddy case.
Yeah. Yeah. Tom, I have to let you go today.
I know you do.
Sorry.
I know. No. I know we're up at the time, and we're about done anyways. So I appreciate you, Charity. Everybody go to
I appreciate you too. Yes.
.com, support charity and the Freedom Brigades, support charity, period. We have one state leader in the country that's good and honest, and so we got to support her.
All right. We will see you guys next week. I will talk to you later.
Thanks, Charity.
Bye.
Okay. So anyways, there's a lot going on with this Bondi stuff, and I think at the end of the day, if we don't continue pushing this, I don't think anything's going to happen. There's an immense amount of pressure, if you're Pam Bondi, to not do anything with this. Think of this. Think of how many Congress people, senators, high-level billionaire people, connected people. I mean, just look at the lists that are out there. You got you got Epstein's calendar. There was a report in Wall Street Journal from, I think, 2023. You got the Lolita Express, flying list. Now, being on the calendar of the flying list doesn't mean that you're a child rapist. It certainly doesn't, right? What it means, though, is that these are people who had contact with them. So who was on that? Who was on the client list, really? Who was it that we have video evidence of raping children? These are things that we've got to know and got to ask. And I think we have to do this to support the president. And we need to keep pushing Bondi, and we're going to keep doing it until it's done, because this is what I think is one of the foundational things that they're using to undermine Trump's agenda. So anyways, we're going to keep pushing on this. And like I said, it's concerning when we look at the fact that she had the opportunity to do something as an AG. Everybody knew that there were issues, and yet nobody would do anything. Nothing, right? I find this more than a little bit troubling. So, all right, real quick, I want to hit a couple things real quick. Big win for Trump, huge win. Stock market's booming. Why? Well, tariffs are down on China. How far? Huge. So Trump, you talk about art of the deal. He's got tariffs down to, he's got 10% for U.S. goods going into China. That's incredible. That's incredible. And U.S. goods coming to U.S. from China are 30%. So we are now officially winning that trade war, right? We got a 30% tariff on things coming in from China, 10% going out to China, right? That is huge. Trump, and it's a 90-day deal, but it's done. The deal's done. A 90-day deal. We're going to go 30% and 10%. So we got a 20% win on that tariff number from China. That is monumental, and it's game-changing. It's absolutely game-changing. It's I don't think I can overstate the importance of this. China's struggling right now. I mean, the tariffs have had a huge impact on China. It's it's really causing a lot of issues over there. Yes, it's caused us problems. Our consumer prices suck right now. Everything we're seeing is a little bit rough right this minute. But I will tell you, we're making progress. We're making progress. And this this is one of the things that Trump does better than anybody. Now, the downside to this is that the day that Trump is out of White House, they can rescind this deal. Whoever comes in can make whatever deal with China they want to make. So, and listen, if Joe Biden came in, he'd go right back to what it was. He'd go right back to America being screwed because Joe Biden and people like that. You think, there's rumors that AOC is going to run for president. You think if she runs for president, she's going to keep things the way they are with America first? No, she's going to sell out to anybody that'll buy her. She just, that's what's going to happen. So the downside to what's occurring is Trump is winning. But until people start going to jail or Congress starts passing laws, you got to understand that there is not going to be anything that's occurring that's permanent. Nothing. So this is a huge deal. And I got to tell you, folks, Trump keeps getting the wins, but if Congress won't help and if the DOJ won't help, they won't stay. So we got to push that. Last thing I want to get to is one of my personal greatest pet peeves in the history of the world. And a lot of people say, why do you care so much about this? I've got to tell you, the single most irritating thing on the planet to me is that every time I get in my car, if I forget to push a button, every time I stop at a stop sign or a red light, the car turns off. This stupid mandate from the Biden administration to try and save a few pennies of gas per year is one of the most absurd things I've ever seen. The Biden administration had mandated the auto stop feature for cars when you're sitting at red lights, things like that, to reduce emissions. Folks, I hate that. You know what I really hate? I hate when my car stops and I need to go and I've got to wait for it to start before I can go. It's a safety hazard. It's one of the most annoying things I've ever seen. And I just hate it. Well, Lee Zeldin agrees with me. And he's apparently working on getting that thing fixed so we never have to have that feature. God, I hate that. The worst thing I've ever seen. I don't care if you want the feature in your car, that's fine, but make it so that by default it's turned off. It's the worst thing I've ever seen. I literally despise that. And congratulations. That might be my favorite win that the Trump administration will have of all things. That it just drives me up a wall. All right, folks. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening. Lots more coming, lots happening. We will be back very soon.